right, let's look at what's going on here. Well, what's he trying to do to me? Okay, he's not doing anything to me. Black has a minuscule threat, but it's guarded. Knight f3, I have a knight here. So, one of the things you could do is kick this knight. Or simply ignore what is going on. Good question. What can I do here? b4. What does b4 do? This doesn't really do much here. This kicking idea is a good idea in general. Well, the kicking idea is a good idea. How do we solve this problem? Okay, I see that one. Realistically, there's nothing else going on. If we kick this knight, he's got two moves. Knight to e6 is awful, because we'd have knight to f5, and that would fork this queen and also fork this pawn. Queen takes h6. I'd like to play this move, but he's got bishop takes knight. So we kick this, and the problem he has is that if he goes back to knight c6, bishop takes, and this draws the bishop away from the guardianship of f5. This is what we want to do. We want to play knight to f5. This is a super powerful position, but this knight and this bishop stop it. This has got to be the move. Right now he's walked into a desperado that's no good. Because once again, if he goes back to c6, bishop takes c6, bishop takes c6, knight f5, and the h6 square is undefendable. Queen and knight will come in here and we'll just checkmate him. Queen takes h6 and queen to g7. So this is why, same story, if he goes knight to e6, I'll just pop it in knight to f5. I'm not going to take this knight. We would take the knight here because we're going to remove the defender. We're going to remove the defender of f5, which is the bishop. So here we're going to take the knight, he's going to take the bishop, and then we're going to take his bishop. We're going to win 2 pieces for 1. We're going to be annihilated. But this was all predicated upon the advanced position of his knight and the ability to prevent us from playing what we want to do is knight f5. You always want to get knights to these kind of squares, especially in front of a double pawn where they cannot be removed if possible. All right, what's going on? Well, he's just walked into a real problem. See if you can figure out what this real problem is. Give yourself like 2 to 5 minutes, pause the video, and see if you can figure it out. And I'll be back with the solution in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the thing he's done here. A lot of times a guy makes a move and it loses control of a square. Well, what squares did he control? D6 and B6. When he moves here, he thinks, well, takes takes and he's attacking my pawn. Well, that's not correct, because I'm not going to take this pawn. He lost control of b6, so I'm just going to play b6. Pawn takes, and then I'm going to play rook. I can play rook takes, or I can actually play the crusher. The crusher is b6, a takes b6, rook to a2, and this pawn queens. This is the move that looks like the right move, but the right move is rooks belong behind passed pawns. This is the crusher. So that is a hard position to solve, because you got to know things that regular players don't know. Even 1800 players don't know this. The 1800 players thinking is that, okay, b6, pawn takes, rook takes, which isn't bad. Okay, I can't hold this anymore. Solved. Rook takes here isn't bad. We're controlling this, but this looks better than it actually is. The correct move is rook to a2, and it's game over. That's the best move. That's exclamation, best move on the board. He can play rook a5. We would just play rook takes. We're going to queen first. There's nothing he can do to stop this queen. a7, he can go, I mean, he can stop it, but he cannot stop it profitably. Rook to d8, queens, rook takes pawn, or rook takes queen, rook takes rook, and this rook will annihilate these backward connected passed pawns. It'll be real simple. You just go, rook will go behind the b pawn, and then, or go behind the c pawn, and when he pushes it, you would go rook to c6 and then attack the base pawn, which would be the b pawn. If b pawn moves, then rook takes free pawn. It's over. Super easy win. But you got to understand what's going on. As my dad would say, you got to know how to win the game, meaning you got to know how to win the position in front of you. And you win it by, we're not taking pawns and winning pawns. We're just going to go queen a pawn, and there's nothing you can do about it. Bam. I queen pawns, baby. All right, first thing comes to mind. Queen to h4 check. Unblockable diagonal. Now, he can't go king to f1 because queen f2 is checkmate. So he has to play king to d2 or king to d1, and we're going to play queen takes d4 check. I don't care which one he goes to. It doesn't really matter. This is just crushing. And now I can play queen takes rook, or what else can we do here? Bishop to f5 check is a crusher of a move. How is that? Bishop f5 checks, unblockable diagonal. Well, he can block it with e4, but that would just be bishop takes pawn check, bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop check, and he can no longer mess with our knight. There's no way we can guard this knight directly. And when he takes it, he's going to get my rook. So there you go. He was going to get checkmated. Still, it's under check. We're guarding our knight. This is completely flipped on him. All right. So this was fairly basic stuff. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was a 9-move combo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And my evaluation of this position was that we were winning. And we are winning. But this was an example of 9-piece movements visualization. right, what's going on here? Well, we have kind of a nasty idea here. He's not in a position to do anything to he's not in a position to do anything. Ooh, that's nasty. Look at this. If we check him here, look where he can go and where he can't go. He can't go to the F file. He can't go to the E file. He can only go to G1 or G2, and G2 loses the rook to this. So this is an interesting move. Check. King G2 loses the rook. So King G1. And what happens after that move? Check. King G1. Knight to here threatens to checkmate him. And it's also threatening his rook, and his rook cannot do anything except this. This is irrelevant. So this was just like looking at the squares of the white king had available, and he didn't have any good squares available. You know, there was a cheapo shot of rook G2 and then knight checks. I'm like, forget this, man. We're just kicking this guy's butt. He doesn't have any squares. Chess eye said this wasn't the move, but chess brain said this is the killer move. And you're toast.